Print, one of the oldest forms of media dating all the way back to 868 AD in China, where characters were printed on paper with the aid of wooden block types and ink. The print majority now is vastly different, and many techniques and tools were used throughout the years to make production quicker and more efficient. The main goal of the print industry is to convey and record information on a specific topic on a piece of physical material, whether it be paper or, in the earlier days, papyrus. With the technological atmosphere further becoming much more developed and much more people around the world having the ability to use the internet, many of these publishing firms are migrating their publications from printed to online. The digital landscape offers many advantages, from lower production cost, a wider array of content, the ability to produce content at a global scale, and much more. In order to fully understand how the print industry regionally is, how changing the models of media distribution changes the way that we may develop media content, and how the change in distribution model changes consumers' expectation for access and content, we would be interviewing Desiree Sampson.
As far as publications like books, magazines, I would say that aspect of the print industry is definitely dying. We're not seeing many magazines being published anymore, and many that used to be are no longer in existence physically. If they are, they're probably digitally. As far as regional and local, I see the need for these industries to have a greater online presence and to have mixed media on their online platforms. So don't just have the printed article and photos, but videos as well. And to also add content that users would not have received in the physical newspaper. I think that is the way for these industries to go. I also see self-publishing ebooks, digital versions of magazines as the future for the print industry locally and regionally. The impact digital platforms will have is broadening or widening the audience for our print industry. And that's not just here. It means that people anywhere in the world can read about what's happening in Trinidad, or read about the news, or read about any aspect of Trinidad, travel, life, culture, through not just through the newspapers, but through magazines. So that's the impact of digital platforms. So it's about, it'll put information about Trinidad and Tobago or about the Caribbean region in the hands of more people, or provide access to information about this part of the world to people not just here in this part of the world, but people globally. Digital platforms will also open up avenues for other persons with a variety of skills to gain employment. So videographers and filmmakers can also gain employment in the print industry by making little videos, turning printed stories into videos that can be uploaded to these digital platforms. The impact of digital platforms should also be seen in providing access to information to people who cannot read. Being able to watch and listen via audiovisual means will provide them with access to information that they cannot otherwise access through the printed word because they cannot read. Well, for one thing, and since we're speaking about the print industry, you have to look for people who are skilled with IT, computer technology, video and audio production, graphic design, and page layout, and so forth. So in other words, you have to look for artists and filmmakers and these sort of people, because when you think of an idea for a story, and I'm speaking now of, say, maybe an editor, you have to not just think about the printed word, you have to think about video, you'll have to think about audio, you'll have to think about how the visual look of the thing is going to play out. So you have to think over a variety of media apart from print. So it's going to change the way editors conceptualize, and even reporters change the way they go about telling the stories they are trying to tell. Writers will have to also think about what aspects of their story can be told in the form of, say, a video or perhaps just an audio piece. In developing content moving forward, especially when we consider switching over to digital platforms or enhancing or harnessing the power of the digital platforms, persons working in these industries now will have to think about developing content not just specific to the media industry they're working in, but how that content can be used across different media industries. More and more people are expecting that they can get their content online, and they expect that content provided online would be adaptable to whatever size device or whatever size screen are accessing this content on. So more and more, whatever technology is going to be applied to the local print industry to harness the power of the digital platforms, in particular online, persons have to consider the size of screens. More and more people are accessing so much of their media content on their smartphones, and consumers continue to expect to get, if not all, most of their information via these screens. Also, consumers expect content regularly, rapidly. So if something happens at 10 o'clock, it should be there in some digital presence for people to access by 10, or if it's something ongoing, it should be coming live streamed. So it's that immediacy and need for quick content. Technological advancements have also changed people's ability to engage with a piece of media for any extended period of time. Many consumers are not prepared to read an extended article online. Quite a few consumers, if they're accessing some piece of printed information online, they'll scroll down to see just how long this thing is, and if they find it's too long, they're not going to read it. Even though it's something they know they want to read, it's just too long. And the same applies to the length of a video or the length of an audio piece. So in other words, technology has changed consumers' habits to the point where many people will now, even for video and audio, the content creators will have to break it up into smaller bits. And this is why you see on YouTube these different news sites, their news pieces are like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes for the most. You may have a few longer than that, but what technology is going to alter is how long people are willing to engage with a particular piece of content.